Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Good morning, wrong. Well, we got an interesting market here today, guys. I'm going to fix my camera here. So, man, many thoughts on my mind here. I'm not so sure that I'm actually going to take any live trades today because we've got Powell speaking, and I'm not sure that the market's really going to move too much until he's gone or he's spoken. But on the other hand, we have moved quite a bit overnight, haven't we? Mexican President Lopez Obrador says there are signs that U.S. officials want to get a deal. Well, of course they want to get a deal. Man, it sure is. It sure is moving at the moment, isn't it? That low there, it wants to go. We'll see. I don't know. So, in the meantime, I've got another problem here, folks, because I got this I got a new screen yesterday. Let me show you here. So I got a new screen. It's the same size as this one. It's like way too big. There is like no room. I used to have my mixer there. I don't have any room for my mixer. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But not only that, but my charts are all fucked up. Like I'll put that back there. Make sure that that's all right. Yeah, no. So the charts, yeah, we're gonna have to fix that. Not move too much. It just fell 11 ticks in the last 20 minutes. Right, but okay, hold on. I'm just saying that I don't know. Here's the thing. That piece of news, I'm not why it seems to me that they're moving because Mexican President Lopez Obrador says the talks in the United States are going well. I'm optimistic. I believe there will be a deal before June 10th. Cool. Feds Evans with Steve Mellis Markets. Markets seem to be seeing something that we're not seeing as quickly. We need to pay attention to that. Markets see something I've not seen in data. Okay, so let's just assume for the moment that they are talking about that they're talking about the Mexican government getting a deal. Whoop-de-doo. You guys didn't think that they were going to try and make a deal? Doesn't mean that they're going to get a deal. They stopped there at 26. They bounced right off of that big bid. I see. So the Mexican president screwed my fades today? Oh, is that all that they're going to give you right there is 28? Anyways, so I come over here to my charts. They're all screwed up. Oh, I have to come over here and fix them. And move it. Oh, hey, they filled me. Okay. Well, we can't mess with that too much then. But I think I can, let's see here. How do they make this bigger? How do I fix my ruler here? You know what? I have this. I can do this. Personalize. Background. Picture. No, this one right here. There we go. And make it fill. There we go. All right. Well, it's gone against me for a tick already. I'm not happy about that. Actually went against me really hard. So I see some shenanigans already. Let's see if we can fix this. The thing is I fixed it last night, but then something happened and I got rid of it. I forgot to save it or something, and it didn't do it when I brought it back up this morning. I'm kind of off this morning too. I don't feel quite on. I already feel what is the word? Disorganized. Anyways, good morning, Lucas and Uzi. Wrong. Well, I don't like the way this is ticking on me. Clearly 28 was not necessarily the spot. It might turn out to be okay, but oof, man, I should just not even watch it. I should just not even look at that. Holy crap, it's like all over the place. Ooh. Come on, give me a tick. Okay, now we got our charts. So now I can show you. So here's my other concern. How many times have we tried to hold that 127? Us failing it now here is pretty ucky. Are the rest of the speakers? I think there are two speakers from the Fed, but the only one that really matters is the president, right? Mr. Powell, I'd assume. I don't know. Those are pretty aggressive candles breaking support at 127. I think that you could continue to see some more downside, but obviously we're getting a really strong pullback first, and I don't think that my fade is looking so hot right now. They've been able to tick up at 28 half too many times. And there's some liquidity sitting there on top of me. Yeah. Now they're going to make me chase it. Well, shoot. The less you trade, the better. I think about you only have one trade and you get the margin call if you don't want to be patient. I thought that was the spot. I got excited. It's fine. It's 770, not felt. Ticks up. ticks down, they pull on my price. Nobody hits it. 5-year ranging around quite a bit. Do want out. No comments on monetary policy or the outlook from Fed's Williams. I should show this window, huh? Oh dear, is my OBS being really slow? Oh, say it isn't so. Where's my... yeah. Oh no. Dashboard doesn't say that it's the 31st, does it? Should say it's June. Yes, there we go. June. June 4th. Let's change that to a 4. 4. Okay. Oh, and you know what else? We got to do something else. We'll wait until we're out of this. Come on. Put me out of my misery, please. Fix my chair too. All right. See, that's too far back. I don't understand what they did. It must all be in my head. They didn't actually change anything. I feel like my chair. You ever get that? You have your chair exactly set up the way that you want, and then somebody comes in and they sit in your chair and they change the settings, and you can never get it back to the way that it was. Very annoying. I mean, this is more relaxed, but I'm too far away. I want to be right there in the microphone. Maybe they changed this. Oh yeah. I think that's exactly what happened. Restart the software. I think I'm just no, I think we're okay. You haven't experienced that yet. You must not be as finicky as me. I think it must be an ADHD thing. Okay, see now this is showing me that at 29 was the center of a zipper. Does NT sometimes mess your entries and exits in the execution tab and charge you more commissions than supported? Because that just happened. Oh, okay. No, well, I mean, I've never used NinjaTrader as my primary execution platform, so. I've always used Jigsaw for my executions. Yeah, everything just feels screwed up to me. And I feel like I'm looking down, even though I know this is not moved. But it must just be this other screen. So that's the other question is I don't know. So tell me, does it look different to you guys with the now that it's like the full 2K resolution over here? Does it look any different? I suppose it probably looks a little more narrow and maybe not as good. Because I've wondered maybe I should do it like this, and I could have this over here, and I could have my tweet deck here. That would allow me to see the tweets. No, actually, it's like kind of hard. I need to really turn that monitor. Man, it's weird. I don't know if this other monitor was actually a good idea or not because I'm having issues. I feel like it just isn't working as well. Like to see the ZB. Where am I? Okay, so to see the ZB, I have to look all the way over here. All the way over here to see ZB chart. Like, that's not what you want. Now it's at a 90-degree angle to me. But then at a 90-degree angle, it's no good. And you know what else? The speakers are too low. They don't pop up over the monitor. So we're gonna need to do something to like I'm gonna have to put them up and like aim them down or something. I don't know. It's a mess. I suspect that they might have a larger push up. Like they might even be able to make it all the way back to 127 and try and test it. I mean, it seemed like it was such a key level for such a long time. It was yesterday's point of control. It would, after a break like that, it's not unusual for them to come back up to that resistance point and test it. Man, I don't know. Where is... See, I can't even find my control center. There it is. Let's move that over there. Save my workspace. The other thing is now I feel like that the charts are too big. Like maybe I need to get I could probably fit 12 charts on there. It feels like a waste of space. This is like really bad first world problems right now, isn't it? I'm really bad on the first world problem right now. The camera is also a little too low, I feel like. It would be better if the camera was like up here or something. That's too high. That's too high. It should be right there. It should be like at my eye level. It should be at my eye level. Wow. Whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It looks good to me. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop worrying about it. I want to be short, but this is weird. So where we opened at is incredibly unusual too. Like, if you look here on this chart right here, that dotted yellow line is the open. So to have a huge flush down just before the open, and then a little bit of reversion higher, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that setup before. I'm not sure what to make of it. Look at that take highs after hours. Yeah. See, it's probably going to be shit trade for the next 2 hours, and then as soon as I go, they're going to careen lower, and I'm going to be swearing, and you can already feel the frustration coming out of me, huh? I must still be a little tilted from days past. That and that my first trade wasn't negative. 29 looks weak. Where did I take that? 28. Okay. You know what else? This kind of takes me back to this thing right here. It bothers me. It's not right. Maybe I should just make the ES take up that whole space. Something like that. I could do that. We'll move this over here. Okay. We can show the full price. Well, that's not even close. Make the volume profile a little bigger. Still not even close. You can recover and make everything back on. No, Lucas, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. You're gonna make me out for revenge on Friday. I didn't take all of that live. So it would be very easy to make a lot of it back. You know, 1 8 tick winner and a few good days, and I'd be right back on top. So don't want to panic, but I also don't want to get caught into trying to trade into the summer chop. The summer chop is what scares me the most because last summer was a complete disaster. Maybe I should have gone for that 29 there. Hmm. Oh, okay, so I can add the alert column would help. Okay. Just make some of these columns just a little tad bigger, I think. So it's a little too tight. Move the alert column over to this side. Make sure it's nice and big. Maybe I'll just make it take up that whole thing. Another thing I guess I could do is I could do well, what do you think you would rather have? The bid and ask profiles or the let's do that. We never use that. How about that? That good? I think that looks nice. Do I have? Mm, Need to minimize this and minimize this. Okay. Now bring it back. Okay. That's one thought. Another thought though is Yubi. We could fit Yubi over here too, couldn't we? Especially if we. Okay. Hasn't been too much. Oh, you know why? Because we haven't rolled this one over. Yeah. Yubi. September. Okay. That's a little better. Yeah. Look at that. And I can change this one to narrow this down. Get rid of these. Get rid of the alert column. Don't need the alert column. Make it really tight. Still not quite enough. I wish I had a 1,000 print in here to base things off of. What else can I do? Make that a little smaller. Suppose here on the micros, this column doesn't need to be quite so big. Yeah. That's a little better. And I can probably just show those. Still not enough. 29.5. That is just a little bit too tight. I'm pretty sure that these inside columns don't need to be this long as well, but I don't have 1,000 print to judge with. Still not enough. Mm, we don't ever get 1,000 print in the UP, do we? I think I could probably keep it that tight. It's close. This is very close. I suppose that I don't need that number either. Consolidate that just a bit. Oh, just barely. Not. Um, it's actually a little too tight for comfort. I don't know. What do you think? What did you think was better, guys? Oh, where did you read that news from Mexico president? Did you use Jigsaw from that? No, I used it was on Twitter. It was on Twitter. It was First Squawk was the one that squawked it. I will give you the link here in, I guess, YouTube. It was right there. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Well, that looks a little nicer. I don't know. I'm gonna try it for a few days. See if I like it. I think I liked the way that it looked with the E-mini just going completely across the bottom here, though. You know, making it all big. Okay. Well, they're having a hard time getting past 29.5 on the upside. And they're still selling too. Mm. Yeah, I definitely feel like I can't stand it. Nope, I'm gonna change it back. add back in the alert and the bit mask profiles. And that should be good. Then I just adjust it like that. And then voila. Good. There we go. That there. I don't know. It's not perfect, but there's the charts. See, they're still selling through this range, but they're pushing up. I don't know. I don't really see. Oh, and then I should check this too. You know what? So on this one, I think that I want to get rid of the chat. Just remove the chat and remove the profit thing. How do I get rid of remove? Yes. That way I can. There. Cool. So that 29.5 looks pretty, now that it's gone off, or it looks pretty solid at the moment. The 30-year ticked down there, though. 6J. I don't know. There they ticked down again. And I'm thinking that I might be able to do something like that. Although it's a little sketch, I think. I think I'm probably better looking here at the ES. Well, now the ES, the energy seems to be to the upside. And they've got some good targets up above us, like 2675. Okay, well, I'm okay with the way that happened. I shouldn't be able to go bid that easily. There was a lot stacked there at 28 that just completely pulled, you know? There you go. That's a bit more like it. Question though, will they get past? So 27 is the open. That price might give us trouble. 26 might even fight. Okay, well 27 didn't really present much of a problem at all. In fact, I suppose if it does break this, it wouldn't make sense to take it off at 25. Probably 26, but maybe 24, maybe 23. We'll see. I also have to think about taking it off of 26.5 because there's this big. Okay, well, that too much of that pulled though. Hmm. Yeah, it's pulling a little bit at 26, and then somebody came and nope. Now they're pulling too. Wow, block sell. 3,000 sold there on that order. Wow, that was pretty wild. But it did tick up. That was, you don't see that too often, do you guys? They hit a price that hard and it doesn't give. Now they still get a chance to take it again. I don't think it can hold with if they keep that up. That was some pretty hard selling there. They might not be interested in it anymore though. Let's see. Well, it's pulling a little bit now. E-mini still looks up. E-mini is very much pushing up. Look at that. Look at her go. Go, E-mini, go. Go, E-mini, go. Come on. That 26 is pulled significantly. Should be a pretty directional day for ZB. Go for the sell. I don't know. The thing is, well, actually, the thing is that we really don't know what Powell is going to say, because I'm going to guess that it's going to be pretty nuanced, and as always, the market's probably going to overreact to what he says. So if he comes out and he talks like what the earlier comments from the Fed today, where they said the bond market sees something that I'm not seeing in the data, I think that the market would interpret that pretty negatively for the Treasuries here. Well, they made it go bid there for a second at 26.5, but they did not stay there for long. Oh, look at that pull at 26. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Okay, so now I'm looking at the 24. I'm going to move this down just in case we get like a big rush. And I'm looking below us. I do see something at 23. Yeah, 23 is is the next really significant level that I see. I'm going to post a picture of this. I'm not going to trade live today. Well, you don't know if I took that live or not. I did take it though. I don't think I'm very good at BSing you guys as to whether or not the account is which account I took it on. Well, I don't like that it's holding there 25.5. Yeah, I do. Hmm. Yeah, they're giving him a fight there at 25.5 and 25. Definitely some profit taking there. They might have to pause for a bit. Hmm. I don't know. See, they actually hit that 25 pretty aggressively, but it didn't just break, you know. I hmm, no, I can't really actually. Now I need this other. I just need to go out and get another 27-inch 2K monitor for this screen and just have it all like that. And then I'll be good. Because it would be nice to be able to have Discord, OBS, and Twitter up at the same time. Bronx says he's watching the 2 year. Oh, do I even have the 2? Oh, yeah. I got rid of it because it was not displaying correctly for me in Jigsaw, remember? Quite a bit traded here at 2770 in the E-mini. Okay, they're trading an iceberg at 25. And they went through it. Nothing at 24 half, but... and then it went bid and they immediately pushed it offer again. Well, I think this 23 is going to be really likely, though. I can hold it like it really shouldn't get back above 27, so... I should use my 50-inch TV as a monitor, but with foregoing already, I'm afraid I'll kill the old graphics cards. Land on for risk. Not sure we get a pullback. Looks like a trap. Could trigger a sell-off. I don't know if I read that already, but Alligator said aligned for risk on today. Not sure we'll get a pullback. Looks like a trap. It could trigger a sell-off. I think overall bonds are extremely high here. And if we really get a true trend down or a true trend day down, this could move really far. Like there's 23, then below that there's 17 and 11. Can you imagine if we went all the way to 11 today? Oh, look at the E-mini buy there. Because there's some news. Italy's League and 5-star have reached a deal on disputed building code. Okay, I don't know if that's what it was. 153.08 and 153.05 if she's got the juice in ZB. Let me see. Oh, you know what? I don't even have. I should though. Duplicate a new tab. ZB. You're right. 05. Oh man, yeah. So the same places. I'm a little bit different from where I'm looking in the 10-year, but yeah. Like 03. Well, they're zippering at 25 half. Look at what just happened there in the 5-year. All of that volume. Somebody, a, a buy program of some sort at 14 hit it with a bunch of 10 lots and they all just got absorbed. Also, notice the liquidity change in the 10-year at the moment. They are stacking a little bit of liquidity, but it's all below the low. And there's reference points everywhere. I don't know. Like, we're talking about the 31st. We're talking about Friday, which was just a crazy, crazy day, right? So if we're gonna careen into that area, so below 23, below 21 in ZB. So if we start careening into that area, um, do we trade right through it? I think if I understand this correctly, we're starting to get to the limits of my knowledge of volume profile, but I think that when you got a distribution like this and a distribution like this, we're staying in here. If we stay in here for 30 minutes, we're likely to go to here. Isn't that the way that that works? Yeah, Friday was a mess, wasn't it? I don't even want to think about Friday right now. That was something else. And Monday, to be honest. I mean, that's where I'd start to look for it to stop if the sell-off keeps momentum. Yes. But will they actually pierce into it? I don't know. So maybe we should perhaps look to the E-mini for some clues, right? If we look at the E-mini, so here's what I see in the E-mini is there's this spot right here. Okay, so 27.76 upside target. So I think that you could see some strong buying on the open. These bad boys are way too high on the higher time frames. They need a breather, yeah. So if the E-mini comes back to that, what about if we go further back out? Okay. How high can they actually get is the question on the ES. That one could be a bender too, because of course we have a little bit of push to get to 27.76. I think that they'll probably attempt that in the E-mini. That would definitely push us below 23 in Treasuries. Then does that end up playing out and just push things even further? I don't know. They did make a new low there, but it was only briefly while I was yapping there. It was and I think it was just as the E-mini was pushed highs again. Yeah, it was. Look, it's retracing here at 26. Hmm, 26 goes bid again. Weak bid. Balanced. Back down. And weak offer at 25 half though. False breakout, I guess. I always got to leave the window open for unexpected fundamental developments but from a price and value perspective, I think it needs a cool off. Okay, 26 goes bid again. I'd say it feels like it's reversing pretty aggressively here in the Treasuries, even though the E-mini does not look done to me. God, they're really pushing in ES too. Look at that. The 6J hasn't budged at all, by the way. None of the currencies have. So this really does look like just a pullback in ZB. Well, how much is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe? Hmm. Well, that's going to suck if I end up only getting 2 from that. What about this? What's this tell me? That's, okay. So one of my indicators is actually telling me that we just barely unwound quite a bit of overdone volume. So I may end up getting out here just because, see here, it's going to hit me. Yeah. That's okay, I guess. It looks like 27's not just going to give. Change that. I really should have taken it off at the zipper at 25.5. If I had done that, I could maybe be risking taking a short at 27 if there's an iceberg there. I suppose I still could, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ZB's trading some decent volume today too. Okay, so there's some fighting at 14.5 in the 5-year. But it looks like the bid won. Now they're going to fight at 27. Okay. Absolutely no orders going off here now. So something else interesting through that whole buy, look at the absorption. The absorption was all in favor of the sellers. That seems very unusual to me. Oh, how come my ZB one is messed up? There we go. Hmm. Yes, it's just a really, really slow and steady bubble up, isn't it? I thought something looked off in ZB there. I had my bid and ask columns were switched. Zaldia, good morning. Thank you for coming in every day and saying hi. Hmm. Hmm. Getting quite a bit of shuffling in here now. The E-mini actually turned there. Just briefly. Not necessarily a huge deal, but the Treasuries definitely reacted to it. Hmm. The thing is that the 5 year did not really go back all that much. That 5 year still looks like in an uptrend or possibly pull back. They would need to get below 14, really. And there, the E-mini did definitely pulled back. Mexico is willing to accept the proposals of the U.S. on immigration. Well, that's really positive. President says it was fake news that there were large groups of people protesting his visit to London. While there was a protest, they did have that stupid balloon, didn't they? But it doesn't look like there was very many people there. So I suppose that's one. Depends on your perspective. Probably both sides will think they're right on that one. Is trading your main income? No, it's not. It's just a hobby. Obviously, if you look, I've made $31 today. A bad day, I can lose $128. You're not going to make a living on $100 a day. Drunken Miller dumps all his stocks, piles into treasuries, expecting rates to hit zero. Well, I suppose he's probably not too happy about the moves we've had this morning in treasuries, then, is he? They take 27 bid once again. Hmm. You mean he's coming back hard? Going into this open. Curious. President Trump says on Mexico tariffs will take effect next week, says we haven't started yet when asked if Mexico has done enough to avoid tariffs. Okay, here goes. Okay, not an incredibly strong impulse on the open, but it is buying. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, yeah, buyer's making progress, but it's not the super clear, you know. And there's quite a bit of iceberging at 27. Shouldn't say quite a bit, but more than I'm comfortable with. What are all these numbers I know nothing about stocks? So hold on a second here. I want to make sure I'm safe here first before I go into a big long spill about what all the numbers are. Basically, the gist of it is this. I look for a number that looks really, really pretty, and then I click on it. That's the way that it works. I fully expect stocks to dump into the close. Well, if stocks ended the day down, I think that would really be something significant. Right now, though, there appears to be people willing to fight both ways on the open. I thought that the buyers were gonna really um, win out here. I'm not seeing that. They still could, but we've seen volume both ways. There's actually a lot of selling at the moment. It looks like I am past my should have gotten out of this a long time ago sort of thing. 24K is the target for the week. Okay. Well, that whole thing retraced. Silly us. Seems like somebody really wants to sell it. So far, though, they're not winning. Might have just been stopped out at exactly the wrong spot. Plenty of gaps to fill on the downside. I don't know, dude. When you essentially open up above the previous day's high, um, they appear to be trying to close a gap and they're having a hard time doing it. That is not necessarily positive. Okay, so the blue columns are people with orders to buy at that particular price. That's what that means. So if I clicked in at 27.5 here, the red, that's the red. Yeah, it's safe to do that. That number will increase by one because I'm one person looking to sell or one lot. Somebody could have multiple lots to sell there. And then the columns in between those are the market orders that hit them. That's interesting. Now they're going to go to 27.76 for sure. And treasuries appear to have trouble holding above 27. I mean, it was pretty dramatic selling when they sold at 27. So, yeah. I kind of saw there that they wanted to drop a bit. Okay. So now if 28.5 goes bid, then now I think that our situation is very different from what it was before. I had a really great sell at one point, but should have just taken the +5 on it and then be sitting here chilling. It was like the right timing and everything too. Jeez. Really? That was massive. That was a 5K block sell at 27.5. Somebody's confident. The chances of me getting filled at 27.5 there now is like really low. Well, I wouldn't say really low, but no, wouldn't have taken that in Bitcoin. I don't know, man. But you look at the Bitcoin chart, I'll pull that up, and you look at that sell yesterday. I really don't see how you sit there and say, look at that and say, oh, yeah, that's great action. That's what I want to be in right now. That's something that is going to rip your face off going long on that thing. Yeah, you made it to 8,800. Whoop de doo. So far, I've been saying that they're way overbought and that they need to come back. And so far, I feeling pretty good about the way that this has been progressing in Bitcoin. I think that we may finally get the sell off that takes it to a price that I'm willing to participate in. Okay, well, here at 28, I could potentially think about taking a short, but the the E-mini is selling overall. The market volume is sells in the E-mini, and it's just kind of against me. I don't think I should do it. We also have the President Powell speaking in about 20 minutes, so this might be a good time to just not mess with it. So back to our friend. I don't know if you're still there, Hasten, but do you have other questions about what you're seeing? And just to reiterate, this column is limit buys, limit sells, and then these are market buys and market sells. Right? And then these are different instruments, right? This is the 10-year, the 5-year, 30-year, and then these two are equities. Sentiment indicator is in a buy zone, but Bitcoin is at support, so right now it is tricky. I don't know. You might be trying to trade it on like a much shorter time frame than I am. So the time frame that I look at it, that the action that we just saw in Bitcoin is not positive. And there are a lot of people out there that bought above 8,000. Where are we now? We're not below 8,000, right? But there's a lot of people in there between 8 and 9,000 that bought that are going to be very unhappy. And look at the futures too. Like the futures are selling TF out of that. I don't think I've ever seen that much selling on the Bitcoin futures, to be honest. So I'm tempted to trade it, but I don't think that now is a good time. One caution I should make too is it was about 8,000 contracts selling in the E-mini. There's still a really big buy support down at 2760. So this might not necessarily just fall apart, you know? This area between 28 and 20 is nasty as all get out. I don't think I should touch it. Okay. How did you get into stocks? Because I want to learn more, but I know absolutely nothing. Yeah. Everyone likes to buy high and sell low. I don't. You know what? It depends on the market. Tell you what. So, you know what? We should answer Hasten's questions first because he's new, and I think he takes priority. Shalom and I like to argue a lot. Um, so I got into stocks when the 2008 crisis happened. See, I've always been super into politics. Um, at the time, it was like what we wanted Mitt Romney to be the nominee, but he lost. I kind of regret that now because I'm not a huge fan of the way that Mitt Romney has behaved since losing. Um, but so McCain was president. And I was super into politics, and I was like, I need to understand this because what just happened appears to be a really big deal, and it looks like it's not going to it's going to take years. It's going to affect our whole lives, and it did really. So I don't know how I knew that because I really didn't know a darned thing. So what I started to do was I would just go and find simulators for stocks. So like probably the best one if you're going to do stocks for simulator is like Thinkorswim, right? I think that's what most people start with. Thinkorswim, which is owned by TD Ameritrade. It was way better back when I started, when they were on their own. Way better. They've gone to crap since TD Ameritrade bought them. Everybody said that was happening, and of course they were right. So I would like pick 10 stocks and hold them for a few weeks, and I did really good. I doubled my money, I think, on that simulator. But it was kind of a weird market, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So it doesn't actually necessarily count. A lot of volume trading now at 27.5 and 28. Not sure what to make of that because of the location. Um, and then I started working for one of the big banks in technology. I learned a lot of stuff, and while I was there, I got to speak to a trader one time, and I told them, oh yeah, I'd really like to trade, like I'd really like to be like super active. And they're like, well, what you should do is you should get the DOM, and you should trade treasuries. That's the way to do it if you really want to be like really active. So when I left there, then I picked up futures. So that's the first thing that you should understand about what you're looking at here is that it's very different from stocks. Like the way that a stock trader trades, so they'll have some scanner and they'll be looking at all of the different stocks out there, and they'll be looking for a certain type of move, usually a momentum move to try and get in on early. And they'll put a certain amount of their money into the stock and then sell it that day, which is hard because, first of all, you have to have a lot of money to really make decent money off of it. You have to scan stocks, and you're always trading something that you don't understand. Like, you don't know what the usual behavior for that company is based on the context of the day, sort of a thing, right? Um, Futures, you just trade that one thing. And this one thing that we're trading is essentially what is the policy of the Federal Reserve going to be? Are they going to raise interest rates or lower interest rates? And we can predict what they're going to do very accurately based on what the numbers in the economy are doing. So then treasuries really become like a barometer of the economy. So right now, treasuries are moving up. When treasuries move up, that means that investors are concerned about the economy. Today, they've moved down, partly because we've just been moving up so much, but then also because there's some indications that there's not going to be a huge drama with Mexico. At least they think for now. We'll see. We'll see. But so today overall, I would say that conditions have improved a little bit. So they sold treasuries, right? And then over here on the left, I have equities, which is the S&P 500 futures based on the S&P 500. Are we going to watch Powell? Certainly, if I have find a link. I don't have anything, but anything yet. But when we get closer, we'll see. Anyways, so these tend to move opposite to each other, right? So right now, since the open, the equities have been selling, and so you've seen treasuries have moved up a few ticks, enough to push me out of my position and kill my gains for the day. I'm very disappointed, but you know what? I thought we had a good setup, and I think it was worth holding it. I think that I probably should have taken +3 off of that instead of +2, and then the other trade at 27. I don't think necessarily made sense. So, I mean, it wasn't like a bad trade, but I think that I should have waited a little bit. Anyways, so that's kind of what we're doing. And then the other thing that I will point out is that what I do is I watch every order that comes in and every order that's outstanding. And when we tick up, do those outstanding orders change? Those are the sorts of things that I'm looking at, which is very different from what you're going to see from most people talking stocks, right? Most people talking stocks are going to come in. You're going to see a screen like this, right? They're going to have a bunch of charts and they're going to be like, okay, I see a head and shoulders here and I'm going to buy and sell. So doesn't work. Not that technical analysis is complete nonsense, but it's not nearly as predictive as when you combine everything together. So we like in futures because we can see the order flow. We can see the DOM. So that's kind of what makes this a little bit different from what you're probably used to. Anyways, so that's how I got into it. And there's books. You know, I would start with books. So I would read like Mind Over Markets is probably the first book that I would read. And then the No BS Day Trading course is one that I would read if you want to get into treasuries for sure. I just really want to sell that 28 and I just know that the time is wrong. Let's read the zero hedge story. The reality has begun to dawn across Wall Street economists. This year isn't going to go the way everyone thought. Even as late as November and December, the optimism was still sharp about what was taking place at the moment would be nothing more than a transitory soft patch. No, okay. I have a hard time taking this article seriously. They start out with like that. Ah, yes. Even as late as December, they were still optimistic. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Wait. Charts. Over here. Okay. That is December. That's optimistic. That was optimistic. And now over here they're finally coming into reality. Give me a fucking break. I don't even think I should finish reading that article. I don't think I will. They're already saying something stupid. Now, let's finish it. Blah 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 blah. If you think trade wars and rate hikes are what led us to this point, then the prospects for a trade deal and rate cuts lend themselves to an upside out, if enough can go right. It's still the soft patch. After all, according to this view, the economy would otherwise be booming. This guy seems incredibly bearish. Consumer confidence is at all-time highs right now. Sure. So what? I think that the market, it becomes obsessed with um how do we say, the historical, right? Whenever consumer confidence gets high, that's usually the top, right? Why is that? Well, because consumer confidence tends to be high when things are going really well. Is consumer confidence what causes there to be a top? No, not really. At least I don't see any reason for it to be. It's kind of the correlated things that consumer confidence can potentially show us. Like, for instance, that the last bit of buyers are coming into the market. Are the last bit of buyers coming into the market? No. If this was last May, let's say, and we were moving up, and the consumer confidence numbers were high and everything like that, that was concerning, right? But then we had that huge downturn. We've come back up. Fundamentals, the underlying economy, actually still look quite strong. Inflation, and most importantly, inflation remains low. Because the thing that always kills us is we get inflation, and then the Federal Reserve has to tighten, and that starts the cycle. But because we keep getting drama, it keeps giving you room. You don't get the inflation, and honestly, global domestic trends are kind of work against the inflation anyways, right? So they don't have to tighten. They maybe went one rate hike too high. There's no reason, I think, that if they did get a trade deal, and I'm not so sure that they will get a trade deal, that that you can't see another new high. And honestly, if we did go into a recession, even after all of that, it would be a good thing. Like, the cycle, you have to go through the cycle, and it might not be a super bad recession. I mean, you can never know. The thing that will make it a bad recession is if there's some sort of panic, like a debt crisis of some sort, but Treasuries really came back based off of not really a whole lot of movement in the E-mini, I'd say. Now they're touching 30. That's the high. Okay. Well, I think that we just had something happen there. Is Powell's not speaking yet, is he? Okay, here I have a link. So maybe he's talking. That's not Powell. Let me turn that on.
The constraints on conventional monetary policy posed by the zero lower bound. And the reality is that we now live in a world where the odds of revisiting the ZLB are too high. This requires fundamental review and reassessment of our monetary policy framework and strategy. This is a challenging and exciting endeavor. The excellent papers prepared for this conference, the panel discussions, and our Fed Listen sessions throughout the
I think somebody just puked.
promise to be critical and foundational elements for our FOMC discussions.
Is he on the
So it's
tape?
now my pleasure to introduce Chair Jay Powell.
I might just be
As
delayed.
you all know, following a distinguished career that spanned the private, public, and nonprofit sectors, Jay joined the Federal Reserve as a governor in May of 2012.
Okay.
And became chair in February 2018. Interestingly,
Financial markets have been nervous lately, and over an escalating trade war that has spread from China and now could include Mexico. At the same time, government bond yields are behaving in a way that in the past has been a reliable recession indicator. Dot plot of Fed rate forecast has distracted attention from how Fed will react to unexpected events. Central bank is watching current economic developments and will do what it must to keep the near record expansion going.
Of enhancing our communications, The
Hmm.
Fed chair now holds press conferences after every FOMC meeting, and Jay is moving us forward on the Fed
I
listens
didn't think that he
program,
was going to speak
which
until the
includes
top
this
of the hour.
conference as well as community forums at all 12 of the regional Federal Reserve banks. So welcome to Chicago, Jay. We're very glad to have you here, and the floor is yours.
So I'm going to turn this off since it seems like it's so delayed that it's useless.
Thanks very much, Charlie, and good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to welcome you here today.
Well, I'll watch it. I
This
want to hear
conference
what
is
I
part
want
of
to
a
look at his
first-ever
face as he
public
says it.
review by the Federal Open Market Committee of our monetary policy strategy, tools, and communications. We have a distinguished group of experts from academics and other walks of life here to share
Block cell.
perspectives on how monetary policy can best
Somebody's
serve
still
the
willing to sell it at 127
First, I'd like
even
to say a word
hardcore.
about recent developments involving trade negotiations and other matters. We do not know how or when these issues will be resolved. We are closely monitoring the implications of these developments for the U.S. economic outlook, and, as always, we will act as appropriate to sustain the expansion with a strong labor market and inflation near our symmetric 2% objective.
If the Fed has come out to speak, the
My
market is in
comments
trouble.
today, like this conference, will focus on longer-run issues that will remain even as the issues of the moment evolve. While central banks face
What he's saying
challenging
doesn't
environments
sound
today,
really any
these
different
challenges
from
are
what they
not
were
entirely
saying on
new.
Monday.
In fact, in 1999, the Federal Reserve System hosted a conference titled Monetary Policy in a Low Inflation Environment. And I know some of you were at that conference as well 20 years ago.
If they're unable to hold 27, that would be really significant. This 27, 127 even is a really key
Focused on
level.
many questions posed by low inflation, and in particular, on what unconventional tools a central bank might use to support the economy
Should have this
if
over here.
rates fell to what we now call the effective lower bound, or the ELB, or the lower bound. Even though the Bank of Japan was grappling with the lower bound as the conference met, the issue seemed remote for the United States. The conference received little coverage in the financial press, but a Reuters wire service story titled "Fed Conference Timing on Inflation Odd but Useful" emphasized the remoteness of the risk. Participants at that conference could not have anticipated that only 10 years later, the world would be engulfed in a deep financial crisis, with unemployment soaring and central banks around the world making extensive use of new strategies, tools, and ways to communicate. The next time policy rates hit the lower bound, and there will be a next time, it will not be a surprise. We are now well aware of the challenges that the ELB presents, and we have the painful experience of the global financial crisis and its aftermath to guide us. Our obligation to the public we serve is to take those measures now that will put us in the best position to deal with our next encounter with the lower bound. And with the economy growing, unemployment low, and inflation low and stable, this is the right time to engage the public broadly on these issues. The review has several parts, all of which are intended to open our monetary policy up to critical examination.
Did they release his comments all at once? Is that what the deal
To
was?
help us understand the perspectives of people from diverse backgrounds and with varied interests. This conference and many other engagements will help us bring to bear the best thinking from policy.
Not see, Shalom. This is exactly what I'm talking
Beginning
about,
later
man.
This year, the FOMC will devote time at a series of our regular meetings.
He comes out. Hold on. I'm having a hard time thinking here. So the chairman comes out, and what did he say? What did he actually say? He said, "We will continue to monitor things, and we'll make sure that we'll continue to expand, and we'll adjust the monetary policy as is appropriate." That is not any different from what the Federal Reserve always says. Nothing has changed. Yesterday on Monday, they said, well, maybe we should think about, okay, if we have to, and if conditions continue to deteriorate, then we might raise rates. Okay, sure. Nothing has changed. And that is not even I don't need Powell to come out and tell me that. Right? We all know that if we go into a recession, then they're going to raise rates, of course. Right? But here he comes out and he says something that's even just a little bit dovish, and they make this huge overreaction, huge buying there that almost completely comes back. Man, if you tried buying into that, I think you'd be really pissed right now. And they are not staying above 127 even. Because here's the thing. We were high. We needed to cool off a little bit, I felt. 127 just doesn't appear to have enough support yet. This could come back. Don't fall into the trap. They always overreact to what he says. Every single time since he's been president, they've overreacted to what he says. He's like the most like when Yellen would come out and say something, right? Yellen was like, "Okay, guys, I need you all to buy now," or whatever the deal was. Like she totally did it. This guy is trying to avoid affecting things as much as he possibly can, you know. So don't buy into the hype. That move that just happened there, I don't know. We could maybe move higher today. We are now literally in the middle of a range, right? Literally right in the middle. You really want to take a trade there? And you're sitting there hopping up and down. Oh no, the world is falling apart. Don't trade, dude. If you're gonna if that's the way that your emotional reactions are when the Fed president comes out and says something, you're gonna lose money sooner or later. Good grief. Calm down. Now, now that I've harped on you a little bit too much. U.S. factory orders actual negative spot 8 versus a 1 spot 9 from the previous and an estimate of negative spot 1. So here's another one where with the factory orders, I think what you saw was like things were really bad going into the end of the year. And then in January, February, January, February, March, they were actually a little bit better than we thought that they would be. And now it looks like an ass. I'm talking about after the Dow. I don't. You know what? So here again. Nobody gives a fuck what the Dow Jones Industrial Average is. Nobody cares. That index only exists for like historical feel good purposes. If you're looking at the Dow Jones, you're looking at the wrong thing. Give me E-mini numbers. I don't even know, like 5K points. I don't even know how much that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Dow Jones. Sorry. Now, if you come back and you said, the S&P 500 dropped 200 points, yeah, it did, and it wasn't even like all that. It wasn't even all that dramatic compared to what happened earlier. Okay, so I can see here Swisso pointing something out important. I think what he is pointing out to us is that we are at a low spot in the profile. So if we come back into this range, are we going to see selling back to the lows? I just can't trade in this spot. You have a good point, Swisso, but I don't feel like I have a clear read here. It is a 50. The other thing is that this is kind of like a 50%, so they could still get another boost here and go up to new highs. That marked the Fed's reversal policy. I'm trying to think of when things really fell apart, what was happening at the time. Start of May. There's that gap. I don't even remember now. Ooh, Anthony Crudelli is trying out the advanced options package on trading technologies. Why is Donald Trump posting a Periscope link. Oh, the White House Live. Okay. Well, I mean, you could have shorted it at 30 and made 2 ticks. Now that we're back into this spot, the 29 area, I'm still not seeing a spot that I can just like straight up take. See that? It's a little bit too flaky. And by the way, even though Treasuries really reacted to that, frankly overreacted to that, the E-mini is still pushing lows and still looks pretty selly. So I don't think I may not take another trade today. That's I think I've learned my lesson about when things get really crazy like this, that maybe it's not the best idea to try and step around in front of it. Now here I do see okay, that wasn't quite how I expected that to go. No. I am seeing some buying and some moving up in the 5-year. I do see a little bit of a turn, but I was hoping there was going to be an iceberg there, and there wasn't. Oh, come on. Hmm. 5-year kind of being indecisive here. Shredding the NAR took a short from 2768. That's not bad. Well, yeah, that kind of sounds like an ace trade. Look at them, they're selling it. They want to push those lows. I think that they look at all that liquidity down at 2760 area. I think that the E-mini really wants to get down there. That's just way too much liquidity down there to not move towards it, you know? Who knows if they get through it, but what we're seeing in treasuries here though, this I feel like that this is kind of exactly like what I was saying. Like seriously, this is literally exactly where it was before he started speaking. Shredding the NAR says no, but my balls are made of half brass and so is my brain. There you go. Well, they may yet tick up, but so far this is not going the way that I would like. So I've bought into 30 and it's not going bid again. See, they get close. Okay, that time they took it. Decent amount stacked. I wouldn't say that it's like amazing. Yeah. I got a question for the pro traders here. I want to set a weekly goal of ending each week positive. Is that realistic? Should I set a monthly goal instead? Well, that's a good question. I think that most weeks you should be able to come out positive in the treasuries. It's not going to happen every time. So I wouldn't sit down and beat myself up about it. About you know, if you do have a bad week. But if you're trading well, you will. That's about what you'll get. But the thing that I think you always got to keep in mind with goals is that the market doesn't care what your goal is. You know what I mean? The market's just going to give you what it's going to give you. And the best thing, the best mindset that I've found for myself is to always just think about each individual trade and try and trade that one individual trade as well as you can. Okay, so we got a tick up and they're pulling 31. That's good. It's not just going. E-mini is still not sure here. They might. I think that they're probably going to try and make a push for 127 again. 5 years not quite giving me the push that I need. Okay, that's a little better. Okay. I guess it's what best suits you. Like, we have a company that more than pays their bills, so I tend to look at trading more as a long-term supplemental solution to retirement than a day job per se. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I always stress that don't put pressure on yourself to make it a career. I think that screws people up more than anything. Is you think I've got to size up, I've got to get here, I want to do this for a living, I want to get out of here, you know, and it takes time. For for one thing, it's if you're a retail trader, it's probably going to take you about 3 years to get decent, I think. And you can even see with me, I think that I'm decent, but you can see even decent is not that good, you know? Even decent includes some pretty awful mistakes sometimes, doesn't it? Okay. 62.50. I can deal with that. I'm happy with that. You know, I would Seth, low volume nodes are always the best spot. Low volume areas holds or if not fill out. So Swiss, when you posted that, did you think that we were going to move up? Or were you just pointing it out as a good place to trade it? I definitely watched that as like 30 was the low volume node. They retraced the whole move. They came back to 29. Now I want to see, is there any um, interest in selling it below that? And there wasn't. So then I decided to take it. And there was also some stacking at 29 when I took it. So that's kind of why I did it. I didn't necessarily do it because of the low volume node, but I I think I get what you're saying, right? Anyways, yeah. So another thing about goals is that I would look at it more from the perspective of like your stats. You know, like I'll come back and at the end of the month, I know that I need to keep about something over a 40 to 45% win rate, if not fill up, if fill out short. I gotcha. Oh, I see. You're saying that if they start to trade a lot of volume there at 30, that you should go short. Okay. Yeah, no, I knew that. That's not one that I really take though. I should pay attention to that more. Um yeah, so I know like my win rate needs to be this. I know what my average MFE or MAE is, right? And then I kind of will try and adjust a little bit. And I'll say, okay, the market was really active here, but I didn't get a whole lot of MFE, so I need to maybe I need to make this adjustment or I need to make that adjustment, right? And in that respect, when you look at your stats and you compare that to goals, that gives you a guide for where you need to make adjustments in your strategy to match the current market conditions, right? But if you just sit there and you say, I want to make 4 ticks a day, sometimes in the summer, you're not going to come out with 4 ticks. Unless, you're setting that as once I make 4 ticks, I'm done for the day. That's one thing that I have seen works well for some people and doesn't work well for other people. But you got to be careful because sometimes what will happen is, oh, I made 4 ticks, but my goal is 8 ticks today. So I should take another trade to try and make the 8 ticks. And then you start looking for a trade that isn't really there, you know? So that's where goals can really screw you up. Yeah. So Swisso is saying that we traded through that low volume area. We're not filling it out, and so we're likely to move up higher. I think so too. Although it really bothers me that they're having a hard time holding 127 even. Look at the E-mini go is up towards the top of its range again. Yeah, I think that's a good point you brought up about stats. Otherwise, you're gambling. Totally. Well, and I mean, honestly, think about it. If you look at my stats over the past 6 months, well, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Pull it up here. And I will go to the beginning of May till now. There was a couple of bad days in there. Yeah. No, it's not applying correctly. I need to refresh the page. For some reason, when I try and change the date in Jigsaw, after the thing has been open for a while, it doesn't like it. Okay. Okay. That's a little better. Okay. Okay. So here's my stats, right? We want right here. Okay, so here's how I've been doing, right? Been doing pretty good, but then I had some bad days up in here. Okay. Now when I come over here and I look at things, I know I want to be above 40% on the win trades. Okay. 42.9, 43. Okay. And then short trades should be about the same. Or sorry, loss trades should be about the same. So can you see here? My wins literally as much as my losses. Bitcoin hits 6,200 this week. And you know what? So I hope so. Because I'm getting sick of all these people coming in here and saying, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And I'm like, nope, stop it. Stop. Anyways, my wins and my losses are going to be about the same. But on average, they tend to go in my favor a little bit more than they tend to go against me. Now, I probably take too many trades and I probably give up too much in commissions. So that's kind of where I'm really hurting the most right now. Okay. But I get really big winners, right? Like I got a really big winner. The largest losing trade was 93. And that only happened like once, whereas I get these 8 tickers, a couple of times. And so that's where my edge is, right? Okay. So if you don't do that, you can look at it as like, when I have a read, I can make more than on average than I lose on average and still hit 50%. You're scalping, that's about what you're going to hit. Is you're going to bat at about 50% and you're going to make more than you lose. How much are you paying for commissions? It's around like 258 for the full round term. So yeah, it's when you take out my total gain and loss, when you take that out of the total gain and loss, it's pretty close to break even now. It's a little bit positive. It was great 2 days ago. That's where those losses really kill me, right? So those are the two things. Is I think I take a bit too many trades, and I had too many losers, too big of losers. These stats looked a lot better a week ago. Hold on a second. So let's just go back and change it, and we'll cherry pick here so we can see what is like really good stats. Okay. So if we go from the 1st to the Thursday, there we go. Okay. So here we are before everything went south on me. Sorry, there we go. Okay. My wins were 49 and my losses were 39. Okay. That's really good. But really good is still winning 50% of the time. Okay. So when you look at it in that perspective, even if you have a good read, 50% is still a relatively high percentage win rate. Then yeah, if you're not doing all of the other things that your strategy says that you should, that you're only taking the loss that you should, you're only taking the win that you should, you're only taking the number of trades that you should, and all of these other things, then it really is just gambling, and you're probably just not going to make anything. Right? Okay. Do you think living solely from trading is not a good idea? Not at all. It's just not a realistic goal for most people. That's the problem is trying to reach for something that's just way too far out of your reach. I would say for most, because the thing is, most of us, I look at my stats for who watches. Okay. My audience is overwhelmingly male and mid-30s. Overwhelmingly, right? Most people just don't have the extra income to even think about trying to trade futures until they're like 35, right? And by that point, you have so many other things going on in your life, or at least I hope you do. You're gonna have a place to live. Hopefully you're gonna have a family. Not that I'm dogging on anybody that doesn't, but I'm just, the average is that you will. And you probably have a career already. And to just up and leave that career and then go over into trading and then immediately put pressure on yourself to be making a living from that trading is just not realistic. It's just not going to happen because it takes like I said, 3 years from what I've been reading, 3 to 5 years before you're even like reasonably capable person. And 90% of people don't make it that far. 90% of people don't make it that far. Now, the micro futures kind of change things around a little bit because you could get into the micro futures with probably $1,000, pay $500 on your platform, put $500 into your account. Then I think you could, yeah. The classic scalping in treasuries are death. You cannot survive with 3 ticks without size. In the end, only the broker is happy. That's funny that you put size.in and it turned it into a link. No, you're right. Well, and that's another thing is if you're always, I've seen some people come in here, actually quite impressive, and they're maybe making 2 or 3 ticks, and they'll have like 80% win rates. But what usually ends up happening is they'll do really well for a really really long time, and they never truly get tested, and then when the test does come, you just absolutely totally fail it. And a lot of those people, once they get to that point, they will either blow the account or just completely tilt, and they never make it out of that. I've seen that 1 or 2 times. That's where I got lucky. I left a $13 an hour job to trade full time. I didn't sacrifice much. I didn't accomplish much in life before trading, so I didn't have to lose. Yeah, and well, and so that was where I was trying to get at. Is that really the way that it should, the way that you want to do this, the way that like back in the day this would happen, is like when you got out of high school and you turned 19, you did this, right? This is what we need to, this is where we need to go, is we need to find, high school kids and say, okay, so, work hard over the summer, save $1,000, and then trade. And you could totally do that as a university student, would be great. Especially if you're living with your parents, I wish that that's what I had done. Wake up early, trade treasuries until 10 o'clock, have all of my classes later in the day. You can do that. And then by the time you graduate, not only do you have a university education as a fallback, but hopefully after 3 or 4 years, you've gotten to the point where you can potentially make a living doing it. You know what I mean? But if you just go straight in and you have a lot to lose, then it's just going to mess with your head. It just messes with you. I mean, the losses mess with you anyways, okay? You can see it with me. It Friday and then Monday as well. Really disappointed me, let's just say. I was really disappointed because I had done so well. And the real test is always when the market tries to take it back. And the market came to take it back, and I totally flunked that test, man. Totally flunked that test. And it really gets you down a little bit. And it affects your trading. And can you imagine how I would react if losing that meant that I might not be able to pay the bills for the month? Oh, man. See, I know that if I have a really bad month or whatever, I can just spend a little bit less and put some more money back into the account and be fine. But if you're like always on the verge of blowing up your account, you're just, oh man, you don't want to be like that. Do you have a backup plan though? Like if I blew my account today, I'd still have business funneling 8 to 9K a month into our house. If I blow my account out of the water, as unlikely as it is, I don't have to scramble for a job. I can legit take 3 to 4 months off and just start again. Yeah, totally. And that's another thing is that this is really important, right? And we've talked about this before, but in my opinion, this is the thing that people get wrong more than anything else. There's no secret to trading, okay? Being a successful trader is about all of the little things. But there is one thing that people always seem to screw up. And that is you cannot make money trading the same market every day. You cannot. I'm telling you straight up, you trade the same market with the same strategy every day, you are extremely unlikely to make money. There are time periods where your strategy is going to do well, and there are time periods where your strategy is not going to do well because there are market cycles. And when that changes, you have to change strategies. And there are some instances where as a retail trader, the type of strategies that we can actually carry out are limited. They are limited. That's why a lot of retail traders do not. I can do it every day and prove it. Okay, how many years of making money every day can you show me? Because if it was just 6 months, then you're full of shit. But it's, and if it's not, you're going to run into it sooner or later because the market changes. The market changes. This is what always happens. And I'll speak for yourself. Okay. I think that I've noticed that when I say things like that some people will get a little upset about it, but it's the fucking truth. And anybody that's been around, the only reason I know this is because I do this streaming thing, and there are some really, really nice, helpful people out there that help me far more than I ever deserve to. And they tell me about the things that they've experienced and the things that they've seen other things people experience. And what happens? Well, okay, maybe you've been making money for the past 10 years, and then the recession comes, and your strategy stops working, and you just get screwed. And because you've never had to adjust, you just get completely destroyed. The market will always change, and you always need to be prepared to adjust to the change. That's why you need to understand why your strategy works. You can't just go in and say, oh, I have this thing and it's back tested and it's just kind of random. Okay. The algorithms that do that, they adjust their strategies every day. Every day. I know this for a fact because I freaking worked on them. Okay. They adjust them every day, and they make significant changes to them like every 6 weeks, like completely change the strategy up because markets change, right? So you got to be able to adjust to it. And so the key is knowing why your strategy works and when it works. And to know that this is an area where I don't have an edge and I shouldn't trade. And for most retail traders, if you're trading with one lots, probably you're not going to make money in the summer. Some people can do really good with that, but the unfortunate truth is, I think that most of the action in the summer is just random stopping out retail traders. You know what I mean? And so you don't trade in the summer. Okay, so if you don't trade in the summer, then how are you going to pay the bills during that time? You know what I mean? So then you get to this point where it's like, if you're if you're a mid-30s guy and you want to go over to trading, then you either have to have a lot of savings saved up and own your house, or you have to have other forms of income. And almost every guy that I've met that I would consider successful has something like that going on. Either their wife makes money, they have a lot of the money saved up, or they're retired, right? I think Swiss is wrong. I only have 2K in my account and I've been trading with some success lately without blowing it. You can trade with 1K futures, never a minimum capital needed 20K or more. Otherwise, you can immediately give the money to your broker. No, I don't know if I agree with that. It's because that speaks for everyone. It's because he struggles during certain periods, which means everyone will struggle during certain periods. Well, so the thing is that you can switch strategies. You know, that's the thing, is that probably if you are making money all year round, you're probably using different strategies at different times, right? And now, in terms of like minimum amount that you need, it's possible to do it with 1K. You can do it with 1K, but the whole problem is that if all you have is 1K, that you're extremely unlikely to do it. right? If you're not able to avoid blowing out a 2K, you might as well avoid having a 20K account. You will blow that bigger account too. Yeah, I agree. Well, that's where I say don't, you know, I know everybody wants to get you into live as quickly as possible, and there's definitely reasons why they say to do that. But the reality of the amount of capital required and everything like that is such that there's no shame in trading for sim for a long time until you're good at it and you're confident that you can hold. You know, probably probably if you wanted to trade treasuries, especially if you wanted to trade the 30-year, Swiss is probably right that your best case scenario is that you're going to trade with 20K. Now you can do it with micro futures. I really think that with micro futures, if you have about $500 to $1,000, that is more than enough for you to be able to get yourself on your feet and learn. Just realize that you might have not made very much at all, or just break even for very, very long periods of time, and don't sweat it. You know, a lot of people don't learn until they learn the hard way. The thing that you gotta remember, um, there's really most traders do find an edge in the market at some point. They might only have that edge for a day, but eventually the market comes around to something that matches up with the way that you want to trade. Something that happens sometimes is they have a strategy, um, and the market likes it right away, and they just happen to be the lucky few that because honestly, a lot of it is just chance. You try this, you try that, sort of a thing. You get lucky. These type of people tend to talk really hot, right? I would say not the first time that I've seen somebody. You guys remember? I think most of you guys, this was before you, but probably about February of last year. Maybe it was the fall of the year before that. I remember there was this guy that came in, and he was talking really hot like that. He was like, I can make money every day, and it's super easy, and I can show you how, and all of these sorts of things. And he actually put in some live trades, and I think that he had some that seemed like they were okay, but he was taking them in spots that I was like, I don't know if that's really a good trade. You know, some of these guys that come in and I'm a little skeptical about him, like Swisso, but then as time has gone on, I've seen that he really knows what he's talking about. But man, this guy was just really hot headed, and so we banned him. And a week later, some guys, I guess he had messaged some guys in Discord and stuff, and they were starting he started a room, and he started the room, and he was doing a swing trade, and he was fading the move, and he faded a trend day and walked away. So he was down literally 16 ticks, and he came back and he looked at it and he said, "Oh, it'll come back," and he added another contract. That was the end of his room, right? It's just like it works until it doesn't, and are you going to realize when it stops working? You know what I mean? You will learn sooner or later. I'm not the one that said that. Jesse Livermore was the one that said that. You cannot make money trading the same strategy in the same market every day. There are going to be times that aren't as good for your strategy. That is just the nature of markets. If it was that good, the market will sniff it out and they will kill it sooner or later. That's just the way the market is. If you can show me stats, 5 years of winning every day, then maybe I'll believe you. But I'm going to guess that if you've been trading for 5 years successfully, that you will know that you still have periods of, a month or more where you didn't do well. Well, I am a little surprised that we're down here at 27. So how do you explain that one? I think we did start trading a lot at when we got back down to 30 again. So maybe it shouldn't be surprising that we moved down that much. But I kind of felt like when I took my +4, I kind of felt like, given the time that it was probably better to not. Oh, I wasn't saying make a living with the 1K count. I'm just saying you can trade with it now. Yeah, I think that you could say that shredding the NAR, sure. I mean, if you have if everything in your personal life is all good and you still have income, you can trade it, and as long as you're not taking serious loss and you have the ability to replenish the account so that you can keep going, that's fine. And you know what? If you spend, thousands of dollars over the years trying to learn and you never figure it out, then at least you had fun, I guess. Hopefully that doesn't happen to any of you guys, but statistically, retail traders have the propensity to be cowboys over being planners. The bragging rights are more important than the kids. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that one of the things I always look at, like, when I have bad times, um, when you have bad times, it feels bad and all of that. But like, what can you learn from it? And one of the things that I've always taken away from situations like that is that if I hadn't have had that down period and everything had just continued to be up, it probably would have messed me up. You know what I mean? Sometimes the market has to teach you humility. And personally, I think everybody would like to be the guy that just got it right away and had a good winning strategy right from the get-go. I don't think you actually want to be that guy. Because here's what happens. That guy, he gets some good winners. He starts trading a bunch. He builds that account up to, like, several hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever. And then the reckoning comes. And so now you've been through your reckoning and you've lost maybe a few $100s. And maybe then you're humble enough you can pull it out and you can become a successful trader. But that guy, he's lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? I don't think you necessarily want to be that guy. I think I would rather pay the price early on when you don't know what you're doing. Retailers are more, well, they just broke the low right there. Holy crap. I'm surprised. I should have tried taking another short when it got below 27, but of course, I've done this many times before where I said, no, I think I'm done for the day, and then I see another move. Well, now that they've touched 20, now that they've gotten down to 23, now it comes back to that big question about, are they going to push into that previous profile or not? And another thing I should say, well, we've covered many, many different subjects here today. And obviously there's always a lot of disagreement, but it's my channel, so I get to say what I feel like. But that earlier thing, when it was like, oh no, the economy's falling apart. I think that the S&P 500 could see X today and this and that. And Powell just came out and said something bearish. I felt like maybe that wasn't the intention, but I felt like that you was trying to get me to sell stocks or to buy treasuries and to just hold it and expect some trend day up or something. And I knew right away when that happened, that's not something that's you don't want to take that as she goes, because that's gonna fly back in your face so fast. When it came back to 30, I really had no clue if it would go up or down, but now that we're down, you can really see that taking that trade taking that trade as a risk off trade would have been a really fucking bad idea, wouldn't it? So don't panic, people. being the world is the sky is falling has really only paid off like twice in my lifetime. So keep your wits about you when everybody else is freaking out. If you take the race car approach to trading, you run the risk of crashing into the wall. I really like that analogy, Uzi. I'm gonna write that down. Okay, well, it's about 8:47. I need to post some notes. Well, what's all the things that we gotta go through here? Oh, you know what? We should make a new thumbnail. I think we should do that first, because today was just so crazy. Today was just so crazy. We're on a half that chart. That's just so crazy. That action. Okay. We're saving these as PNGs, right? 0604. Cool. Come over here and change it. Should be a little bit better of a thumbnail too, because I added like a little white halo around me, so that you can see there's a person in that thumbnail. Companies like Goldman didn't start with 20K they saved from a day job. No, I think actually they probably did start with a sizable investment. They probably already had their career though, right? Professionals don't open accounts with 20K and turn it into millions. They work for companies that consistently solicit money from large investors. That risk, no profit, and with 1K, this is not possible. Yeah, you're probably not. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you have 1K, I'm not saying that you can't become a successful trader. I'm just saying don't expect to be making millions. And yeah, don't expect for it to become your day job. Maybe it does, but oh, you know what? I should have let the dogs out. The poor dogs, because the wife is out. And so they're not gonna get to walk around. Generate charts here. Let's see what Bitcoin says today. And then we gotta get going. Anyways, I have many, I'm gonna make a couple of videos. That's one of the videos is that I really think that the one of the keys is that you've got to know when your strategy doesn't work and just stay out. That's the biggest problem that people have, I think. So the last one it gave me was on the first. So we'll still look through. It'll still give us some stuff. Okay, well, I better get going because they're like really, really sad noises, and I feel so bad. But thank you guys. If you haven't hit that like button, then definitely do so. Yeah, but Futures Trader started at that's a bird and dogs in the background. Sorry about that, Cody. And Futures Trader, he started at a prop firm, so he kind of got lucky there. Anyways. Hit that like button if you haven't. Make sure if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. The bell icon will give you notifications on YouTube when we go live, so it'll be a lot easier for you to find us when we're going live every morning. That's how these guys get in there, like from the very beginning. That guy from Warrior Trading claims to have turned his account from 500 into $1 million. You know what, Uzi? That's the guy that has the account like he actually has a list of all of his trades too for that year, right? So I actually believe him. But the problem is that he did it during a market that's extremely unusual. And there's no telling if he's still successful with it, you know? So, of course, you can show that a thing works for a certain amount of time, but I want to get people into the market and stay for, 20, 30 years. That's what I want to do. I don't want to still be streaming here in 30 years. So, when I'm an old man and teach 19-year-old kids how to trade, that's the way we should go, I think. Anyways, and what else? Oh yeah, make sure you leave a comment on the video about how you did today. I made 4 ticks in the end. I probably could have made 8 or more, but screwed up one trade and then decided to quit early. What is an unusual market? The 2008 crisis was an unusual market, okay? If you came in and you started trading in 2008 and you just happened to like going short, you could have made a lot of money. And I don't necessarily think that if you made a ton of money that year, that makes you an amazing trader, unless you also continued to make tons of money every year since then. That's all I'm saying. Okay. John Paulson, he made a ton of money shorting the market, and then he tried shorting something else and lost it all. So just saying. Anyways, if you want to continue this conversation, because I always enjoy this conversation, and there's always a diverse set of opinions on it, put it in the comments of the video, because then we can continue to have it after the stream ends. Or we can argue in the horse in Discord. All right, I will catch you guys later. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.